Ready? Hello, friends and viewers. This is Asvardual, and welcome to an exciting new episode of my game development livestream. Let me drop my volume just a little bit. There we go. That's much better. So, this week, I am fulfilling part of a promise to the Game Jolt dev community. They're really behind the hero's journey. It's the place where that game is doing the best. And one of the things that I said I would do this week is live stream a little bit more of the development for the patches in the hero's journey. Um, what I've been working on this week mostly is dealing with a bug that was preventing the settings that you set for like master volume, music volume, that sort of thing from working properly. The other thing that I was working on was ensuring that the player's physics work about the same way they do in Sarah the Shield Mage. I think I did a really good job with those physics, and working on that actually helped me figure out a solution to a problem that I'm going to be fixing next week in Sarah the Shield Mage with the whole casting animation thing. But first, in pursuit of showing what I've done this week, let me go ahead and show you in this very simple scene. It's going to be the Lake Ilea Bridge, which is something I'm going to be working on. There is a collider on this water, so that's the reason Sir Tim can move around on it. But yeah, Tim moves much more like Sarah. He can still attack. If he had overthrust and underthrust, that would be a thing. Actually, we can go ahead and turn those on. There we go. See? Overthrust, underthrust. Yeah. There we go. So yeah, that's what I've been working on. I got the player physics all ironed out. Enemy physics are actually working a little bit better as a result too. There's been some interesting cases where the slimes have still been knocking the player away really strongly, and I'm working on figuring out what is going on with those exactly. But yeah, that's going to be for the next week that I'm actually working on the game. What you all came to see, though, was some of the level design. And for the first 45 minutes, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to go ahead and start on the Lake Ilea Bridge. Um, Actually, that's a good topic to start with. What I have in mind for the Lake Ilea Bridge is it's a interstitial challenge where the goal is for Sir Tim to get from the right side of the bridge to the left side, unlike the rest of the game, which has him starting from the left and going to the right. Another interesting aspect of it is this challenge doesn't quite exist until Sir Tim has gone into the Karikako crypts and retrieved the Perseus boots. Part of the reason for this is because, well, for starters, I'm going to be changing how the Perseus boots work. Instead of just revealing those wind blocks, they are also going to provide a double jump function as well. One of the problems I had with the game after I released it is that the Perseus boots, they really aren't all that useful outside of just revealing hidden blocks and oh, that's it, you know? And I was not satisfied with that approach. Um, but what will be important about this is that the Lake Ilea scene will be a relatively safe place to teach the player how to use their double jump. And actually, to that end, I can work with my modified physics provider, and I can go ahead and set these values for this map. Right now, it's also important to note that nothing is actually connecting the world map to the Lake Ilea bridge scene. So right now, this map exists in a vacuum. Nothing else yet has access to it. But one of the things I need to do to start with, I need to start going ahead and blocking out some of the terrain. I intend for this map to be a relatively large one, actually. Let's see. Where did I put the blocks? Tidy tile pack. There we go. So it's going to be soil light. There we go. Go ahead and put that there. That's that one. And another thing I need is sand. See if I have any of these. Okay, that's not the sand I used. It's a good setup for sand though. Yeah, there we go. I'm only going to be using top tile of the sand. I think that's the best way to go. Right. So this is the right shore. I need to go ahead and start with that. Okay. I want to check something right quick though. Okay, just making sure. So this is going to go way over here in the distance. Go ahead and put it about 50. Then I'm going to go ahead and shift this over by about 25 to compensate. I can always extend the dimensions of this level as necessary. Okay, so I got that. Now one of the things that I want to do is go ahead and start creating the shoreline. This is just going to be the lower part. I don't have to extend it too far beyond at least in the front, I don't have to extend it too far beyond the front of the camera. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to arc this out of sight. And it will cease to be relevant. There we go. So then the next part comes that I need to get the grass top. Actually, what I'm going to do with this, so that fits like that. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go ahead and displace it by 0.5. Okay. Put it down like this, it gets to a nice sort of half block height, and that's perfect. That's absolutely what we need. I don't want this to be so obviously blocky like the rest of the game. I mean, it's good, but the point of the shoreline isn't to actually be of any value to the game. It's sort of like the shores on the world map. It's just there for atmospheric flavor. So I'm going to go ahead, extrude these guys out for a while. And this is why the sand blocks will cease to matter, is because we've got some other things. We've got these blocks occluding them. So it's just going to fall out of, just the sand blocks are just going to fall out of sight. And that will be that. Like so. Okay. Actually, what I probably want to do Let's go here. So, yeah, I moved him 3 over. I want to do that. 2, 3. Then, of course, the player, I'm going to want to put 0.5. There we go. That's going to look good. And of course, I want to move my seed block over. Like so, so that when it comes time for me to do that, I can do something similar. Actually, in hindsight, that soil block may not be necessary. I don't think it's necessary. Because the point of this level is that the player is on a bridge. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so what's going to happen is there's going to be a bridge that starts right here, which I'll just be able to naturally walk onto, and then our level will involve jumping around. I'm going to put some mountains and things in the background too, but yeah. So I do need to extrude this shore a little bit further though. That's a thing. Of course, just to dot my P's and Q's, go ahead and extrude my shore a little bit more. That was a bad rhyme. I'm a poet, and I didn't know it. Okay, so one of the other things I'm going to go ahead and do, go back to ISO mode, and I'm going to create a camera freeze trigger. This is just a area where the camera will stop moving, and then within that, it's going to be a scene change trigger, which will go. So that's the relationship we got right there. Okay. What the scene change trigger needs to be about. That. And then I'm going to extend that trigger, make it a little bit fatter. The scene change trigger will take us back to the world map. Of course, in the world map, go ahead and go to there right quick. Unity. There we go. Yeah, now the overworld map is pretty significantly longer. Okay, so it's going to be 13, 1, -5. Good to know. So the scene change trigger is going to go 13, 1, -5. Then this setup, I'm going to wind up duplicating and moving over to the far side of the map. For about the same reason, actually. It's just going to be there to allow the player to get past it. So 12, 11. So we're going to let the player off on the opposite shore, which is going to be 10, 1, -5. So there is part of our necessary infrastructure. Still need to extrude it a little bit more, but past that. Yeah, see? It just drops me right on this little island. So player gets done with the Karikako crypts right here. They go here, they're not expecting it. There's going to be something here to let them know that, oh, monsters have set up shop. They step into it and they go into the level. They can also choose to go up here to this little cave. If I let it load. Actually, I need to go ahead and need to do some manipulation. This is a Earthbane Gauntlet puzzle. Pretty much the idea with this is that you have to dig your way to victory, but in my opinion, that's actually another of the well-designed levels in the game, so that's not terribly important. But you should be able to get the point from this, though. That's how this is going to wind up working. So we know that that works properly. One other thing. Don't technically have to do this, but I do want to curve curve my setup a little bit there. I want to go ahead and extend it by about another 4 tiles. There we go. So this way, whenever I run it, you can still see a little bit off in the distance. We'll tell you what, since the camera is going to be frozen, that actually gives us a little room to cheat. I can just duplicate these tiles. What I'm going to do to be safe is I'm going to go ahead and actually tile the tiles at a angle and see if that helps, just in case something changes later. Yeah, you see? It just sort of looks right. Then, all right, so that's one shore of this little island that is taken care of. That's good. We can go ahead and call that a completed part of a scene. Now the next part, though, need some more. Yeah, need to use my custom wood tile. Yeah, that's actually just about where I wanted it to. Right, so what's going to go ahead and happen with this is actually, let's see how it works in relation to my player. So it looks like the player's about just sort of hanging out on the, actually, let's run it again right quick. It looks like to me like the player's hanging out on the edge. So if I go into scene mode, actually no, the player is directly on the block. That's good and bad in its own way. It's good because the player is well aligned. The problem is I also need a little bit more depth to the scene. So what I'm going to wind up doing is raising these up a little bit. And duplicate these a couple of times. Then do something like that. Here we go. Then I'm going to go ahead and normalize the bridge here. There we go. Right, so what's going to happen with this level is this, like I said, this is a very simple test of the improved Perseus boots. So what's going to happen is I'm just going to start by building a normal bridge. That's very important. That's my starting ground for all of this. I build a normal bridge, and then I'm going to add add obstacles to it, such that uh, the player has to learn how to properly use the Perseus boots. That's really the whole point of this. So I've got the basics going on there. The only other thing that could really be done to make this even better is creating a wood plank block of some sort. I've done it before. So what I'm actually going to do... Actually, I'm doing too much. I'm just going to duplicate this span until we get close enough to the other shoreline. After which, just do the opposite of what I did on the right shore, and I'll make the left shore be like the mirror, if you will. Actually, I don't even need those. Okay, there we go. And like so. Alright. So that right there is a complete bridge. 8, 9, 10, 12. And I will bother with extruding the left side of the landscape on my own. All right, so let's see what we've got. Right now we just have a bridge to walk across. Whenever the game starts, actually I'm going to go ahead and close something on my secondary computer. There we go. Okay. All right, secondary computer is good now. All right, so we've got a bridge. We are crossing Lake Ilea. Just imagine enemies for the time being. Which is something else I wanted to get to. One of the things that I'm going to be doing in a later episode is actually creating some new enemies. Hi, Runisip. Yeah, Runisip. I wind up streaming every Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. So yeah, you can always hop in here whenever you want. Oh, thank you, Runisip. I appreciate it. I don't know how long you've been watching. If you just joined, I'm working on my released side-scrolling sword fighter game, The Hero's Journey. I'm actually adding a level to the game right now. This is let me get out of the world map actually. This is going to be the Lake Ilea bridge, sort of the big bridge. Runic LP. My bad. I'm sorry. I saw the L as being a I. My bad. But yeah, what's going on is this bridge is going to be the first place where the player character learns how to use a power up you get in the late game called the Perseus boots. In addition to revealing wind blocks, they also let you do a double jump. And the point of this relatively short level is to still provide the player with sword fighting. This is a side scrolling sword fighting game after all, but also to teach the player how to properly use the new mechanic that they're getting from this item. So I think it's safe to say we've got a bridge. That's the first part. I can go ahead and create another game object for the back, sort of the place where the mountains are, because if we look at the world map, we sort of see that there's all those mountains right behind the player, and it's important that I keep those because I want the player to realize that the world map is zoomed out, and I want to preserve the players the idea that the world map is a zoomed out version of the land of Ilea, and I want this bridge part to sort of make sense because there what all this see all this imagine there's more shore over here on the world map. All the player sees, zoom really in, this is all the player sees of this level on the world map, and there's actually going to be like a bridge and maybe some fortifications crudely pixeled in here. So that's why it's important that I keep that fidelity and that I have a shoreline and that I have the mountains. The mines here aren't going to be visible. The evil castle there only appears when that part of the game is actually up. But yeah, yeah. One of the first things I learned about level design is that the appearances matter very, very, very much. Um, but yeah, that's the boring stuff. I'm going to be doing that off screen. That's if you thought watching me put down this chunk of land was tedious, well, yeah. So we need some actual fortifications. We need some enemies. We need things that will test the player's endurance. Right now, all we have, if I run the level, stop getting argument out of what? It's giving me an argument out of range exception. I'll look into that on my own too. Right now, all we have is a bridge, and this is cool. Don't get me wrong. I mean, if you had mountains in the background and a shore and maybe the top of Ilea Castle poking through over there, it'd be cool. But what's the gameplay, you know? And that's why we have these. Let's go ahead and do something about that. All right. I could use a castle wall thing. That seems like a good idea. Go ahead and add a game object to my geometry. Actually, evil castle walls. Tell you what, for continuity's sake, let's do that. That seems like a good idea. Right, so about the halfway point of the bridge is about right here, and I'm just eyeballing it. So that's another thing I wanted to get to while doing this sort of design, this level design session too. Um, I imagine some people might wonder, why are you using these tiles? It may or may not be more efficient for you to have a 2D character on a 2D background and not make it look so tiled. It looks kind of ugly, right? Well, actually, the reason I go with tiles is because um, it helps the player to judge their jumps. This is a tool that I'm giving you so that one of the first things you start with is a small basic jumping puzzle in Ilea Castle. You've just started the game, you don't really know the controls, you're pushing buttons and seeing what happens. And one of the first things you learn is that you can comfortably jump 2 blocks. You can do like this, you can do like this. And yeah, you have entire jumping sections in the first few evil castles that is centered around making sure you know the limits of your jumps and how best to execute them. That's actually one of the reasons. Some people have said they hated the slime gauntlet in the first evil castle. And actually, tell you what, just to prove my point further and kind of bring you guys in on why I'm choosing to do what I'm doing, let me show you the first evil castle. It's not fully balanced yet. Some of the physics changes I made wound up actually, ironically, breaking some of the gameplay. See this right here? This is really hard to make. But you can do it, if barely. Actually, that time I almost did. Yep. May need to actually move this. Actually, wait a second. Did I... Let me check something right quick. See, jump, decay rate. Oh, that's why. Because I hadn't reset the jump decay rate to being a slightly lower value. Sort of the way the jumping physics in my system work. Ooh, that's a little too high. Let's try this. Whoa. 27 meters per second, he's just making the jump straight up there. That's no good. Okay, so if I do... What? Okay. Or I can make a liar of myself. Let's see. And it looks like I left the Earthbane gauntlets turned on too. Okay, yeah. Kind of one of the things I want the player to have to do is, okay, there's breakable blocks here. If I restart the level, you'll have them back again. When the player first enters the evil castle, they have no way to get to the power-ups in here. They see those, they run up to them, they hit them, they can't get into it, but you also need to go this way because you can't very well go up because, well, there's breakables there. There's a power-up. You can easily get to that, but what's the point? Actually, let me drop this right quick. If I increase the jump decay rate, okay. What's wrong? I had a hard time getting the physics to work right this morning with this. Okay, so okay, this is actually a great teaching moment, believe it or not. Other than just me screwing up, which is rather comical, I have to admit. Yeah, what's going on? Okay, so you're not supposed to be able to make this jump. This right here, this is a bug. This is what a bug looks like. Ideally, I want the player to be able to come up just short of making it, and then no such luck. So if I drop the jump decay rate down to 90, up to 95%, what jump decay rate means is that game seems a bit laggy and you don't think it is a stream. No, it's definitely the stream. My graphics card sucks. You're getting graphics lag. It's not network lag. At least it better not be, given what I pay for internet. Ultimately, the player should not be able to make this jump. The first lesson they learn is that the player can make this jump, the player can make this jump, but the player can make this jump only with very great difficulty. So it's going to be 1, 2. What really happens is it's more of about a 2.5 block jump. So see right now, holding it down, making a full jump, I'm actually hitting about 3.5, 3.25, depending on whatever. Go ahead and drop this to 26 for the time being. Another thing when designing games too is you'll want the reason I have so many variables exposed is in a lot of games everything is a number. So if I make this, I can make it. Try that again. Yeah, see, I'm just making it without even trying, even though, yeah, it's because my jump is still too high. Actually, that's part of the problem. Because the jump decay rate is a multiplier. So every tick, as long as I'm holding down, okay, see you later, Runic LP. Every tick when I'm holding down the jump button, this multiplier is getting multiplied with my upward velocity, but before gravity is applied. So see, I'm still making it, and that's a problem. I drop this down to 925. Yeah, we can just barely make it. There we go. That's what I want to see. I want to see just barely making this jump. That's the point. It's not undoable, it's just a little bit harder, perhaps. Yeah, there we go. So 26 and 0.925. And actually what I need to do is update my player. Because that means I made his jump a little bit too powerful across the board. Alright, Runic LP, I appreciate the follow, man. Thank you very much for dropping in. Have a good night, bro. I might see you next Sunday then. So, yeah, moving right along. Hope Runic LP has a good sleep going on. Let's get back to our bridge scene. Okay, so we've 26.925. What we're going to do at this point, this is way later in the game, right? We're assuming that the user at this point, they know about how far they can go. Yeah, they can. See, that's another problem, is it seems like the jump height is almost semi-random. But yeah, they know they can't get past this. This isn't going to work. If they want to get past it, they need to double jump, and that's where the Perseus boots come in. Go ahead and save this right quick. Yeah. Can add some enemies too. I think that's a good idea. Think probably a Shitado would be a good idea at this point. Shitados are sort of like the Octoroks in The Legend of Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. Their whole point is to force the player to deflect their little bolts with their shield. You can barely see them because of the doodads, actually. Yeah. So we get up to the Shitado here, and his bolts are passing me. No way is that right. Oh, that's why, because he's not even on the same line as me. That sort of matters. Isn't level design fun, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah. Okay. Actually, it is fun. So yeah, we blocked that. Oh, blocked. Try again? No. Ow. Okay. And he dropped a pickup. That was nice of him. So yeah, yeah, we still have a problem. We've got an enemy, we've got an impassable wall. Whatever shall we do? Well, for starters, my double jump code isn't working. Let's see why that is. I bet you when I was moving code around, I did not migrate the part of the code that checks your jump count. So, jump if not allowed jumping. Movement. Let's see. So, yeah, we have a flag that we can actually disable jumping if we need to. There is a slight lockout to jumping, so you can't just sort of fly and float wherever. More interestingly, though, there is, let's see, we've got this little bit of logic right here. So we get through all this, we make a jump, we are moving, we set our timer, we remove a jump. Then when we're in midair, okay, so what we need to do is a little bit of debugging. Get rid of our little friend the Shitado. There we go. Part of it might be that yeah, I think it's just not it's not triggering. Let's see, character has made a jump. Might be that actually it might be that my timeout is too large. But we can find that out really quickly. See that crap in action. Let's go say hi to Mr. Shitado again. Ow. I'm also going to need to work on the Shitado AI. Okay, Let's see what we got. Player tried to jump again too quickly. There we go. So that's a thing. Also, another thing might be in my control code. I guess that's the infuriating thing of game development sometimes, is because I did spend the week trying to get this properly working, and then that could that could be part of it. So we do have a little bit of a logic problem here. Um, what's going on is the double jump code isn't working, and the reason the double jump code isn't working is because of that if statement. But we do have a deeper problem, because whenever we hit jump, um, actually, there's a way around that. We can just do that, because we do have a reference to our movement object. So let's try again. Okay. Ow. Stop it. That's smart. Okay, so I may need to actually be a little bit more lenient, because what's going on is I'm also not giving myself enough time. See, I did get a double jump when I made the decay rate, so I got a little bit more airtime. But I still can't hop 3 blocks. But luckily for me, that's just a number 2. So I can do something sort of like... Actually, I want to make it shorter. And the reason I'm not exposing the lockout is because, well, that's kind of a common thing. Ow. Try this again with... Let's try a slightly... Still not working properly. Okay. Maybe it's still too large. Whoa. Jump block. Oh, or I did expose it. Yes, I did expose it. Oh my goodness, I'm dumb. I'm sorry about that, viewers. I'll admit, finer moments have been had. There we go. We can double jump now. Yeah, check that crap out. Alright, so, yup. There we go. Minor victory, ladies and gentlemen. Yup. We can double jump. My code does work. And, yeah, this is the very mechanic that we are showing the player that they can get around. Now, it's 9:21, so this segment has gone a little itsy-bitsy bit long. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and say I'm going to be working on this every now and again over the next few weeks. I definitely hope you've enjoyed taking a look at the basic level design of the Lake Ilea Bridge, but now we're going to change gears. Let's go ahead and open up something a little bit more sinister, shall we? If it'll open. There we go. Alright, this little monstrosity is something else I wanted to do some redesigning on. This is Evil Castle 2, the second and by and far probably the hardest dungeon I've ever made in a game, but perhaps more importantly, it has some rather serious problems. Let's try to actually get through this so I can show you some of them. My fans have actually pointed these out to me, so let's go ahead and get started. All right. So one of the main parts of this evil castle. I can't even. Okay, so I'm gonna be playing with my physics again. Okay. I mean that's totally fine. I wonder why 26.5 behaves like that. Ow. Don't go into the fire. Okay. Yes, so we've got some fires. These block off passages that you're not supposed to be allowed to go into. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and restart because that's a sign that, by the way, that I know my design is broken. The reason being is the philosophy I sort of went with the Evil Castle is that I've broken it up into 4 segments to sort of test what the player has learned. The red segment here is the military segment, and you do a lot of sword fighting. There we go. There we go. Got him. But yeah, you can see a problem, right? I mean, this is a very tight, cramped space. No jumping. You're just doing exclusively sword fighting here. Let's move on. So you have to go through here to hit a switch, and yeah, this took care of all of the fire emitters for us. The gold section is the jumping puzzle part of the dungeon. And you can see we've still got some physics problems going on. Now this room is one I'm very fond of. I'm probably going to try to keep it in some way. Notice all the webs here. Don't press that switch. If you do, spiders will come out. That's why I have all the spider webs. But yeah, this whole gold wing has jumping puzzles in it. Over to the blue section, this is the magic and projectile section where you have to fight Shatados and that new enemy that you can see teleporting above. They're sort of like Wizrobes, except with more death. And that's not good, okay. But yeah, I mean, the whole blue section here is projectile enemies. And then the green section is actually more of a another mobility puzzle oriented way, except that it's not so actiony as the gold sector. So another thing, so that's one set of problems. Let's go ahead and go through here. We need to go through this way so that we can get to the main item of this dungeon. And that sent him flying, but not as far as it used to. And that killed me. Darn. But yeah, you can see how unfair this layout is. We didn't even get to the dungeon item, which is about the 75% mark in this dungeon. We got killed just because of really unfair placement, and I think that's happening mostly because of these sort of death lines where I'm taking the player's mobility away. Um, you could say, okay, well, you did make a good case about making sure the player knows how to properly sword fight, don't hit the shield, but I mean, that isn't exactly a new game mechanic, now is it? Go ahead and set this off again. You can see the wind blocks from the Perseus boots. That to me actually came off when I was creating it as a level design smell. The reason is if there's blocks there, you actually have to have the Perseus boots to even get in here. So I don't know what I was smoking when I did that, but it was some potent stuff apparently. I forgot, I changed the physics, didn't I? Give him a little bit more jump force. Don't know why 0.5 force is having such a disproportionate effect. So the trick here is patience. There we go, just like so. Actually, the game is lagging out a little for me. That's interesting. Okay, so yeah, the blue thing here takes you back. Of course, you want to go with the longer door, because as we always know in a game, the longer way is shorter. And this leads us to this part of the yellow segment. This is the fire room. And I jumped right into the fire. Actually, I think that room is another one that is going to have to change. First, because jumps aren't quite as long as they used to be, but also, I mean, I did change the physics pretty radically. But another problem with the fire room too. Actually, no, there's not really a lot of problems with the fire room. Actually, I think the fire room is probably one of the highlights of my design in this one. To be perfectly honest, this and the spider room, because you have to hit the switches in order to turn off all the fires. The fires actually let you properly disengage the trap. So I mean the quote unquote puzzle itself isn't so bad. This is actually pretty much raw platforming. There's not much of a puzzle. Um, Things that can be improved though. Let's see. We've got the entire military sector up here. This isn't really very good design whatsoever. The death lines over here in the ranged and magic sector aren't so great. Those aren't doing me a whole lot of favors. The switch I just put over here to be a douchebag. I'll be perfectly honest. We have another little a slime gauntlet in this section that go here, you jump to here, click, you land on the switch, and the slimes start going. So you have to very quickly move and strike this switch in order to go to another part of the military district. I'm pretty sure that part of the military district brings you here to the block room. You already have the Earthbane gauntlets, so you can crush your way through this. The difference is in this little block puzzle, though, there's some of the blocks, like you can actually see one right there, that you can reveal by striking. So you hit the blocks. It just shows you pretty much have to dig your way through this room. Then here you have sort of the leap of faith, I like to call it. Um, there's nothing here. The whole point of this is just to screw with you. Get up to here. You take this to the military sector. Think negative 3910.5. Let's see, just for reference, that's negative 26. Yeah, okay. So yeah, this is one of the ones that takes you, yeah. So it's going to take you to about 30. Whatever. It's not very important right now. The problem is we have a overly complex dungeon here. It's certainly long, but it's also not doing a lot of things very well. Let's actually go. This guy is sort of low-hanging fruit. I want to start here. As much as I like the wind blocks, I cannot justify them. And I broke the level. What I'm going to do instead, broke the level again. And again, oh well. What I'm first going to do is I'm going to fix the darn level. That's sort of a key thing. Then what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to use real blocks. Because really, this is almost nothing but a gimmick. And not a particularly good one either. I mean, I have gimmicks in this dungeon. It's just, yeah. I could have chosen a little bit better with my gimmicks. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put those there. Alrighty. So that's a lot better already. It's not a room that makes no sense. Let's see, I'm not touching the spider room, and actually this room isn't so bad. Sort of what goes on with this room is you need to go here and hit this switch in order to actually no. No, I'm thinking about it right. Okay, this little L-shaped section, I'm going to redesign that just completely from scratch. That's too complex. This is another reason I like to live stream too, is because if I'm attempting to explain something to my viewers and I cannot do that. I know I've made it way the heck too complex. So, in this way, just y'all somehow sitting there and listening is actually helping me straighten out my thoughts, and I appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. Let's see what else. What's another thing that we can improve? How do we make this less horrible? Okay, so the hero's hilt, the thing that you need to deflect blue magic, is down here. This teleporter leads over here. It takes you through the path with only a couple of telegasts first, but then a little bit later on, you go through the horrible path up here, and I'm thinking that is a mistake. I'm thinking that's a big mistake, to be, if I'm totally honest. This is actually a great time for feedback. So let me explain one of my idea here. This sort of death row and this sort of death row, the point is to teach the player how to properly use the hero's hilt. The way you use the hero's hilt is when you see a bolt of blue magic coming at you, you strike it and it reflects it, and if it hits the thing that fired it, it hurts them instead of you. So here's some. So go ahead and give me some of your thoughts, your feedback. Um, Other than this sort of deathline setup, what's a way that I could teach you, the player, that the hero's hilt is there to deflect blue magic? And while I'm waiting on that, Termifier, first, welcome to the channel. I appreciate your watching. Um, what's going on here is this is a live stream of a game of some development for a patch of a game I've previously released called The Hero's Journey. It's a side-scrolling sword fighter based very heavily on The Legend of Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. What I'm doing right now is I'm figuring out ways to redesign the second and way harder Evil Castle. Um, yeah, Crystalline Entertainment. Yeah, this is a kind of a tough one. I'm probably gonna have to do something. First, I know I'm gonna have to do something way different. This is a part of the Evil Castle that was really reviled. Um, so I think some of the harshest feedback I've yet gotten on the game comes from this section. So I know what I'm doing here isn't right for starters. Um, Question is, what do I do? Um, I think one of the problems with this setup, um, they seem the person who made the feedback seemed a little bit exasperated, disgruntled by the linear thing. You can't jump and dodge the blue magic. Of course, that's also by design in this case. Termifier, first steps into Unity. All right, well, definitely welcome, and you'll learn some things of use here, I hope. Um, yeah, I mean that's sort of the point of my old Deathline setup, though, is that you can't dodge, so you have to fight. The problem is the blue magic bolts hurt really hard, and if you're doing like a low heart run, well, if you're doing a low heart run, you already know how to play the game because you've mastered it. But even if you've picked up every heart rune you possibly can, um, this is the part of the game where uh, I need to tell the player that okay, this is a new mechanic. And I think the reason they felt so disgruntled about the death line is I didn't properly teach them that I just sort of dumped them into this situation where they have these ghosts firing their blue balls at the player, and the player doesn't know how to handle it. And I think that's definitely my fault for starters. Um, Actually, one of the things, if I can show you, on the hero's hilt, let's see, it does have some NPC text. And let's see. Yeah, the second part of it is yeah, this ancient hilt allows your sword to parry blue magic attacks. Of course, if you have someone who doesn't properly read the text, they're definitely going to miss out on that part. That there's no question about that. What I need to do though is design this in a way so that a player can walk up to their little prototype right here. Not prototype. I've used that word so much lately. They run over to this little power up right here. They pick it up. They hear the bun dun dun da 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 da. They got an item. Um, they they just know that, hey, this thing is going to help me solve a problem. And I think that just gave me an idea, actually. Um, yeah, that just gave me a good idea. Right, so I'm gonna have to rework my entire teleport maze for starters. Actually, gonna have to rework the traps because here's what I'm thinking. Uh, can I link some gameplay to get an idea of the game mechanics? Um, well, in the short term, you can always Google for Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. Let me actually play through this for you a little bit, Termafire. You're right. I probably should have, when I realized someone was joining the stream, I should have gone ahead and just started doing this. Right. So this is the game. You can attack high. You can attack low. You can jump. Actually, let me fix my physics right quick. Why did I have to expand everything? Expand all the things. Alright. Okay. And I'm actually managing to get some graphics lag. Of course, that's also because I have a really crappy graphics card. Yeah, so what you just saw me there, you see these little guard guys. They have a shield just like I do, so one of the mechanics is that things that hit my shield don't hurt me, but when I'm attacking, I'm vulnerable. Ow, crap. He was juggling me there for a second. Ah, stop it. There we go. There we go. Got him. There's little crystal pickups. Pick one up, regenerate some of your health. We have these little teleporters here that let you go around the level. The level was sort of designed as a teleporter maze. I am now questioning the wisdom of that decision. We have switches. You step on them. This one stays stepped on. We go back. Switches have all sorts of actions. They can... Okay, Crystalline Entertainment has a suggestion. Maybe do the Metroid type of item pickup text, where when you pick up an item, it pops up with a window that explains what it is for and what situations to use it in. Here's a question, Crystalline Entertainment. By that, do you mean just raw text? Would you think an animation would help instead? Just sort of, in what ways would you go about presenting it? Because right now I actually have text, but the problem is that the player who complained about this apparently hadn't quite figured out that you have to attack with your sword. It might just be wording. Maybe that's all I need to do, but I'd be interested to hear your ideas, because right now I have good reason to believe that it is not clear. And while I'm doing that, here's our redesigned chamber. sort of the point of this chamber. Whoa, what the heck? The point of this chamber is to just provide you some health crystals to top off your life at. Um, this is the spider chamber. If you press this switch, bad things will happen. Press this switch, you will be able to progress with the dungeon. And that's another thing, is I have a switch that you hit on one side of the dungeon that does something on the opposite. That's another thing that I think is usually not very well liked, and because it's unclear. Yeah, I mean, here I am. I'm actually on the other side of the evil castle where a Shotado killed me. Let the game unload. Yeah. But yeah, that's another thing that he's gonna ask his advise his dad on some video editing. Okay, yeah, definitely take your time, Crystal, in entertainment. But yeah, that's another problem too. Um, Another problem with the teleport maze, because it's not clear that if you hit this button all the way on the left side of the evil castle, that something happens on this side of the evil castle, and I think that's something that that certainly gamers and designers have been working against and sort of consider an anti-pattern. And with this game and some of the things, I mean, before that I didn't know that this was the case. I thought, oh well, that'll be so cool. You have a teleport puzzle. Oh yeah. But yeah, it's not the best way to do it. But that's okay, because we're gonna change it. I think the problem is getting back to the thing that I was just sort of asking everyone about, is that I didn't provide a safe way to learn about it. I mean, right away you're going from this new power up that gives you a completely different way of looking at the game, and then you're going right into a dangerous situation. These are enemies. These are enemies that can kill you. And I've just given you a new mechanic that you don't know how to use yet. I think that's part of the problem. What I need to do is actually I can go ahead and modify I can make a modified version of the fire script that has one HP and can only isn't flagged as an enemy. No, it is flagged as an. Let me think about this for a moment. Okay, you see the mechanic. Okay. Okay, there we go. That was me knocking my headphones off. I apologize to your ears. So yeah, so now on what I'm saying that isn't clear. Okay, I'll await your feedback with bated breath. I think what I need to do is create a version of one of these fire emitters that you can just smack with your sword, and that tells you, oh, if I see something that's blue, if I see that blue particle effect, a blue particle effect, and I smack it with my sword, that's what the hero's hilt does. I need to demonstrate to the player that now if you hit blue magic, you completely dispel it. Because what's really going on under the hood of all of this is I'm not just giving the player one new mechanic in the hero's hilt. What I am giving the player is two new mechanics. You have the hero's hilt that can disrupt blue magic, but you have blue magic itself. Blue magic does not appear in the game prior to this point because you have no way you can possibly handle it before this point. Um, the most you could hope to do is jump over it. And in this case, with this sort of deathline setup, this that I'm totally going to change, that's not really an option. So, the first things that I need to do, it's already 9:50 right now. Darn, I'm a little shorter on time. It took me a long time to articulate the problem in the first place. That's a thing. Um, One of the things I can do offline is I can take a modified version of the fire effect, like so, and I can modify this to be blue magic. Uh, what needs to happen is this sort of this blue magic barrier, blue magic fire, blue magic gate, whatever we would want to call it. Tim the Knight needs to be able to stab it and it disappears. So that's the first thing. And then what I'm going to do, where I can start, actually I can start on this right now. First thing I do is I delete these enemies. I delete, oh, and I delete that power up. Yeah. So the first thing that will happen, player gets here, they have a barrier. The very first thing I'm going to ask the player to do is to destroy that barrier. Um, for the for considerations of time, let's assume I figured out a way to do it and have put the game object in the scene. I want to do it a couple more times just so they get the point. The whole point of the of the corridor is so that in this case is so that okay, the evil castle's owner has barricaded off this entire hallway with nigh impenetrable blue magic. If you're part of the forces of darkness, you can get through. If you're Jim Bob Dogood, no way in the good Lord's green earth you can do that. So player gets through here. They do their other things in the dungeon, and then they get here. This is this is where the dungeon is now going to get a little bit more serious. First things first, go ahead and delete that guy. Then I'm going to delete that guy. Now, the thing here is that the spacing is really important. When the player walks through this doorway that doesn't have any more blue magic covering it, this guy is still going to be a good distance away, so they'll be able to see the bolt coming before it fizzles out, or they'll see the telegast materialize and start charging up the bolt, so they'll be able to get ready and either go into a high or a low pose. When the telegast fires, they'll have a very brief window to know that, okay, it's coming, hit the button, and then deflect the projectile. And because this guy's projectiles are the same color as this gateway, they will theoretically know that that is the proper way to use the hero's hilt. Does that seem like a good idea, though? And I will defer that one to well, I say my fans, but those who are watching. I haven't made a good enough game for you to be a fan just yet, so I await your feedback on that one. Do you think I'm onto something with creating a safe challenge that is sort of obvious that you have to get through, and then a slightly more dangerous challenge which I have primed the user to be able to understand? What do you think? Actually, wow, let's see, back. I think part of YouTube to show the item pickup thing. Um, Yeah, you can if you want, and I'll go ahead and I'll copy the link down and I'll check it out after the live stream is over. Um, yeah, Crystalline, let me one of the things I was just thinking of, I made a couple of changes to the level while you were away. First thing I did was I took these robed enemies that shoot the blue magic. I took them out completely. What I'm thinking I'm going to try to do is I'm going to create a barrier of blue magic in each of these little gateways, and the idea is that the player has to. They've just gotten the hero's hilt, so they run up to the barrier, they stab it, that dispels the barrier. They do that a couple of times, and then they go on do the rest of the puzzle. Do the rest of the puzzle. They get here, and then this is the first place where they have to worry about the teleghasts. The teleghasts projectile is the same as these barriers that were down here, so the player knows when they see either when they see the barrier that they have to hit it, or if they see the teleghast charging up that they have to either stay standing or go into a crouch and get ready to deflect the bolt. Does that seem pretty reasonable so far? Or or would another way be better, do you think? Because I really think some of the frustration from that player was that I just dumped him into a situation where he could lose after introducing two new mechanics. And actually, while I'm waiting, I can go ahead and do some of that right now. It's a few minutes before I'm planning to stop the dev stream, but I think we've done some good reasoning here today, both on the bridge scene with the physics and here in this evil castle. Where did I put that fire emitter? That's a question you won't hear in real life very much. Where did I put the death trap? Ah, there we go. Okay, so it's a vertical flame barrier. All right. Seems like it could work a bit better. You'd have to see it in action to judge it, though. Okay, that actually seems very fair. And in any event, I think some of the values that I have for some of the player physics aren't working out quite as well as I thought they would earlier this week. So I need to tweak those anyhow. And in any event, I also need to work on Sarah the Shield Mage. This is sort of a once every few weeks I'm going to do a Hero's Journey live stream. So, yeah, tell you what, I will go ahead. I think I've been pretty good about keeping promises I've made thus far. So, the next dev live stream, I'm going to have the blue magic barrier in place. I'm going to have worked out the physics problems, and then I will have the game set up to show this to you in action. I will also see about doing something about some of the more deathline heavy parts. Term fire, yes. The first part more like a puzzle where you can't die, but you can't progress without understanding the mechanic. Okay, that's good. Even though that just confirms what I've said, which is usually something to be a little wary of. It's good. It's good to hear that my idea isn't completely insane. So I certainly appreciate that. I'm gonna go ahead in that case. I'm going to go ahead and probably end the live stream in just a minute. First, though, I want to go ahead and thank you all very much for watching tonight. Definitely, in my opinion, it's one of my rougher live streams just because I wasn't as well prepared as I thought I was. But hey, you all stuck with me. You all gave me some great feedback. I truly appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. Crystalline Entertainment. Pop-up's pretty simple. Game just puts a window on screen that says missile launcher acquired. Press Y to fire. Press A to switch back to beams. Missiles can destroy some blast shields on doors. So, okay, that makes me think that I do need to pay a little bit more attention to the wording on the hero's hilt as well, and that's definitely another part of it. So yeah, I really appreciate that, Crystalline Entertainment. Termfire, two questions. Do you own pixel art? What do you use to move, place objects in a grid? Um, okay, two good questions. First, I do own all of this pixel art. I pixeled it myself. It's mine. Don't take it. Second, what do I use to move and place objects in a grid? Um, right now, actually, um, I just use Unity's built-in vertex snapping. What you do is you hold down Control and then you move around and you move an axis, and it will snap it as necessary. One of the things that I'm trying to be very careful to do is with my tiles, I try to make sure that my tiles, my characters, my doodads are all set in certain intervals. As I was saying at the very, very start of this broadcast, not only does it make it easy, not only does it provide you, the player, a good tool to know how to make your jump, but it also helps me to design the level because I can know if I'm trying to give you an unfair jump. For instance, if I were to go in here and just knock these two blocks out, um, based on at least the old physics system, there is no reasonable way that I could expect you to make a jump from here all the way up to here to the switch here that starts the slime gauntlet. Um, another reason I do tiles too is it makes the level design process a little bit less expensive. And when I screw something up, like you've just seen on this live stream today, um, I can recover a little bit easier. Instead of having to go into Blender and completely redesign my geometry, I can just knock out some blocks, add some blocks, move blocks around, and I'm good. So I hope that answers both of your questions. And a little bit more than some of your questions there, Term of Fire. Is that of any help to you? And I wish Twitch didn't have such a long delay between when the broadcaster shows something and when the users actually get it. That the delay, yeah, it's a little bit of a problem, but I guess there's transmission and processing. So yeah, that's a thing, I guess. Okay, and that answers both the Term of Fire's questions. All right, that is excellent. Cool. So tell you what, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and shut off the stream for tonight. Next week at 8:30 p.m., I'm going to be showing Sarah the Shield Mage again. Um, I'm planning to go ahead and start a new level in that game and start working on a couple of the new mechanics. I'm also going to have a boring section with my word processor open where I start kicking around some designs for the fundamental story. And the reason I'm going to be doing that is because designing the story is going to design not just the levels, not just further mechanics, but ultimately where I take the game. It's kind of important, so I'm going to. It might be a little bit boring, but it's one of those things that I really do want other people's buy-in into. So yeah, that's gonna be next week though at 8:30 p.m. Sunday. I definitely hope these are enjoyable, helpful, and possibly not too painful. Thank you all very much once again. Uh, Hope you all have a wonderful Sunday and a wonderful rest of the week. Until then, I will see you all later. Peace.